Hi, guys. Today I want to talk to you about art inspired by literature. So, I'm going to read a book to you, and then we're going to see what ideas come to mind that might inspire us. So, the book I chose for today is called Mouse Paint. Have you ever heard of this book? The author illustrator is Ellen Stoll Wash. All of the books that I've selected for you guys have the author and the illustrator wrote and illustrated the same book. So a lot of time we artists like to communicate our thoughts and our ideas through our pictures, but sometimes we have words that go with them. Some artists just illustrate for other people that write the words. They'd be called the author. And sometimes someone writes the words and then they hire an illustrator to create the art that goes in the books. So all of the ones that I picked for you guys are author and illustrator. So that's cool. So this book is called Mouse Paint. Once there were 3 white mice on a white piece of paper. The cat couldn't find them. Wonder why. One day, while the cat was asleep, the mice saw 3 jars of paint, one red, one yellow, and one blue. Does anybody know what these 3 colors are called when they hang out together? We call them a color family. That color group is called the primary colors. They're the first of all colors, and you'll see why. They thought it was mouse paint. They climbed right in. Then one was red, one was yellow, and one was blue. Those little mice. They dripped puddles of paint onto the paper. The puddles looked like fun. You know we can't resist a puddle, can we? The red mouse stepped into a yellow puddle. His red feet stirred the yellow puddle until who can predict what's going to happen when yellow and red mix together? Look, he cried. Red feet in a yellow puddle make orange. The yellow mouse hopped onto a blue puddle. His feet mixed and stirred and mixed until, all right, think in your head, what do you think it's going to be? Blue and yellow mixed together makes, look down. Look down, said the red mouse and the blue mouse. Yellow feet in a blue puddle make green. Of course. Hey, have you seen that commercial for Ziploc baggies? And one side is yellow and one side is blue. And when you know it's closed, it turns green. Yellow and blue make green. Then the blue mouse jumped into a red puddle. He splashed and mixed and danced until purple, they all shouted. Blue feet in a red puddle make purple. Hey, do you guys know what is another word for purple? Fancy Nancy would love this word. It's called violet. Violet means the same thing as purple. If you look on a crayon, it'll say violet, and then in parentheses, it says purple. So they're both the same. They mean the same thing, purple and violet. But the paint on their fur got sticky and stiff. So they washed themselves down to a nice soft white. And painted the paper instead. They painted 1 part red and 1 part yellow and 1 part blue. They mixed red and yellow to paint an orange part, yellow and blue to paint a green part, and blue and red to paint a purple part. But they left some white because of the cat. Do you see any part of the cat on that picture? That's right. This part right here is the cat's tail. I love how the illustrator didn't feel the need to draw the entire cat. We get it. We see the tail. That's good enough. So when you put a white object on a white background, we call that kind of camouflage or chameleon. It blends in, doesn't it? It is not contrasting. Contrast is when you'd have opposites. Do you see how the tail is a dark color and it really pops off the page, doesn't it? You squint your eyes, you can barely see those mice. And that's how it must have looked for the cat. So that is mouse paint. So once you choose a book, you can read a book you have at home, or like I said, on my Google slideshow, on Google Classroom, I will have a whole slideshow of books that you can choose from. This is just one. So if you chose this book, you might think to yourself, well, this is about color mixing. So how can I make a project that's about color mixing? So the idea that I came up with, so this book inspired me, and I just took a regular coffee filter and I used my 3 primary color markers. And markers are really paint inside of a sponge hanging out in there. So that's why you have to leave the lids on, because that's a sponge. So I took my 3 primary color markers and I drew a design on my filter. And then I have to plan ahead because I want to have some yellow parts that I think will be touching blue, and I'm hoping it'll make green. And then some yellow parts next to red, and some red and blue parts next to each other, and yellow and red next to each other. My goal is to create the secondary colors. This group is the first group. They're called the primary colors. And then orange and purple and green are the second group. So if I took this and I got it wet, then all the colors would bleed and blur and mix, wouldn't they? And it looks really cool when you're done. So what you do is you just take this, you lay it on a piece of paper, and then you find a water bottle, or you can actually flick it with water. I wouldn't just like put it under the sink because you'll wash all the markers off. But you take a little squirt bottle and you squirt it. Okay, and when you're done, it dries and you get a cool design like this. I like this one. Really looks like tie-dye. My goal is to see if I see some green parts, some orange parts, and some purple parts. And then I've made my art. You could make a bunch of these and hang them together. You could add arms and legs and make it like a little creature of sorts. So whatever you want to do. Another book that I have for you guys talks about scribbling. And you make these little scribble creatures. So I made these, one red one yellow one, and one blue one. And I've only added the arms and legs on this one. But the story talks about if you mix the colors. So a yellow one and a blue one mixed together should make a green one, shouldn't it? Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I read this book to you guys called My Many Colored Days. This one talks about how your mood, or if you're a Leader in Me school, then you're talking about the 7 habits. So this would be like a stormy day, wouldn't it? How's your weather? Or how's your mood? And you can make art that has mostly dark colors. A little secret, you can use a light color almost to outline in reverse, couldn't you? Or maybe your mood is more like orange. So you could use orange crayons, orange markers, orange paints, a whole bunch of different orange things to make your orange picture. And it's okay if you have other colors too, but mostly orange. Then there was another day in here that's my favorite. So this is a cheerful color, and then that would mean you're probably having sunny weather or a cheerful day or a happy day. So if you chose a book like this, then you can make a piece of art that's mostly one color. And maybe it's an expression of how you feel or how you want to feel. We already talked about Peter Reynolds, some of his books. One of his most famous books is called The Dot. So I have that on there, and you can watch the Dot book and then make art that's circles. Tons of ideas for that. It could be drawings, it could be crayons, it could be bottle cap lids, whatever ideas you got. Coffee filters, they're circles. Paper plates are circles. So as you can see, the ideas are endless. So you're going to watch one of my videos, get on my Google Slides, and it'll say Art Read Alouds, books about art. So of course, this is one of the first ones on there. Pick one of the books that you want to read, or read all of them. And then whichever one inspires you the most, then you think of your own art project, something you want to do that was inspired by a piece of literature. So this is Art Inspired by Literature for Learning at Home.